I thought, with Sue Bird coming in, at least this is someone that has been positive on Caitlyn at times. And I think the issue with Sue Bird, though, is she has her hand kind of in so many things. And between with her podcast, where she tries to advocate for the players, but she's also an owner in the league. And now she's got the Team USA thing, and she's got all these connections and relationships she has to maintain. But at the end of the day, if it comes down to someone that went to UConn and someone that did not go to UConn, the UConn Mafia is going to stick together until proven otherwise.
Let's be brutally honest here. Team USA just orchestrated the single most avoidable self-inflicted calamity in the entire women's basketball history. Additionally, it's a train catastrophe you can't look away from. Grab this. Without a question, Caitlyn Clark, the largest and most powerful name, and according to reports, the sport has attracted a line in the sand, informing authorities that she would flat out walk away from the team if they attempt to force her to give up her iconic number.
Number 17 at Team USA training camp on December 24th. News broke that Caitlyn Clark will be taking a part in the training, which that's what we talked about at the beginning of the video. Now, this right here this came out this came out on the 24th. So these are the numbers, man. So head on over to Twitter and check this out real quick. So this is what was released right here. It says Lauren Betts. Hold on. Here's the ages. Where's the number? Here we go. Right here. So these are the numbers. Caitlyn Clark. Let me blow this all the way up, man. I want to blow this all the way up so y'all can see this. So as y'all can see here, man, how did Caitlyn Clark number will be changed? So who's wearing 22? Or if you guys remember, Michael Jordan wore number 45 in the Olympics. Caitlyn, because it don't look like no one's wearing number 22. It don't look like no one's wearing number 22.
In the background, the famous Sue Bird is now struggling in a complete panic when attempting to tidy up this enormous mess. But let's face it, the harm may already be irreversible. This controversy is snowballing, becoming worse by the actual hour, as well as the consequences of this choice could significantly alter the sports landscape indefinitely. Now, I must ask you, so please leave a comment below, and let me know where you stand on this. Would you walk away from the incredible honor of representing your country over a jersey number, or do you believe Caitlyn is this an overreaction? I really want to hear both sides of this argument. It becomes rather obvious that Team USA is trying to force Caitlyn Clark to change her notorious number 22 to anything else.
Be made the Indiana Fever star Caitlyn Clark, number 22 is the most recognizable number in women's sports right now. There's no argument to be made. There's no case to be made. Caitlyn Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number for any woman athlete in the world.
So, let's just get straight to the point. Team USA basketball has just attained a level of extraordinary self-destruction that, to be honest, I haven't seen in professional sports in years. They took the one player who brought millions upon millions by themselves. Millions of new fans into the realm of women's basketball, the individual whose name recognition completely outweighs most of the league collectively, and informed her that she was unable to wear the number that has been equivalent to her whole record-breaking career. Next, in a moment of astounding cluelessness, they add astonished when she essentially said, "Fine, then I'm out." To them. A rush of several credible reports during the December training camp preparations, authorities boldly told Caitlyn Clark that she would not be permitted to wear number, just the number she's worn since she was a 5-year-old kid learning to game.
We haven't even made it to training camp yet. We have not even made it to the December 12th Women's USA Basketball training camp yet, and they are already
the quantity that fans worldwide the world recognizes her right away. The number that has become as iconic to the number 23 represents her personal brand. To Michael Jordan. Caitlyn's answer seemed to be quite clear and left no space for interpretation. If she don't show up to wear her number. Camp. Forget about it. Completely stop. And Sue Bird, who serves as Team USA's managing director, is apparently losing her sanity trying to figure out how this situation went out of control. Of command. And you know what? She obviously ought to be alarmed because this isn't only a small administrative mix-up or a simple scheduling conflict. This is a complete 5-alarm emergency that makes the entire company appears either incredibly inept, or worse, purposely insulting. And I can assure you that neither of those is a good appearance while you're attempting to keep your credibility as the leading women's worldwide basketball program.
Look like Team USA is forcing Caitlyn Clark to change her infamous 22 number to a new one. Guys, for this one here.
This is the section of the anecdote that makes this whole event so incredibly ridiculous. The number 22, it wasn't even taken seriously. No one at the training camp, someone else was wearing it. It was just sitting there absolutely available, entirely unused, waiting for its legitimate owner. Consider that for a moment. They didn't need to force Caitlyn will update her phone number to fix a dispute of any sort with another player or pay tribute to a veteran. They had a choice. Additionally, they deliberately decided to create this issue from scratch. And it's that exact option that converts this from what could have been a straightforward logistical problem into something that feels and looks purposefully calculated. It feels like a power play intended to place Caitlyn in her place. And believe me when I say that the public, the media, and supporters are I'm not here for it at all. The timing of this mess couldn't possibly be worse either. The whole controversy erupted a few days prior to Team USA's really important training camp in North Carolina, which was planned to run starting December 12th. This camp was intended to be a grand celebration, an event with additional up-and-coming celebrities like Paige Balkiers and Juju Watkins. It was specifically intended to be a festival of the upcoming generation of amazing talent, a spectacular demonstration of American basketball's continued supremacy on the global stage. Instead, due to this one confusing choice, it turned into the setting for one of the most peculiar, most extremely needless disputes in recent history in sports. All due to somewhere along the chain of command determined that Caitlyn Clark, the most well-known player in women's basketball, had to be deprived of her identity without cause, not a single reason. Let me be completely honest, unambiguous regarding something, as this is the core of the issue. The work of Caitlyn Clark, without a doubt, number 22 is the most recognizable number in all of women's sports right now. There is no argument. There is nothing to refute. In this place. From the casual admirers who simply started watching to the die-hard fans of basketball who have followed the sport for decades, everyone knows she owns that number. That figure symbolizes her absurd logo level extend beyond the realm of art. It represents her incredible court vision, which makes world-class defenders seem entirely silly. Additionally, it symbolizes her competitive fire that simply refuses to let her give up.
The team housing is between 1,000 and 3,000 per month for 5 months of the year per player. So if they're going to increase your salaries by 200, let's say you're a minimum contract player, instead of getting 60 grand.
For millions of individuals, that number isn't just a pair of digits embroidered into a jersey. It's a powerful symbol of excellence, a tangible depiction of everything she's accomplished, and a crucially important component of her worldwide brand. And Team USA looked at all of that and decided she ought to wear number 17 instead. 17, a number with zero meaning to her, zero history, and practically zero relationship to the empire that Caitlyn has constructed. The sole potential importance of the number 17 in this situation is that it's not that's it. That's the whole idea. This was never about logistics. This was about control. This was about sending a message and reminding Caitlyn that no matter how large she gets, the rules are still set by the organization. Moreover, Caitlyn's response was a forceful rebuttal. Then you can make those rules without me. What makes this whole scenario even more insulting is the context related to it, as this is not taking place in a vacuum. Each of us remember what happened just a short while ago when Caitlyn was unexpectedly, and I mean astonishingly, left off the Olympic roster in spite of being the largest renowned in women's basketball and an established, undeniable ratings attractor. That choice alone brought up some quite important issues.
It doesn't really matter too much what players that aren't any of them say, but it's still not a great look on the league in general. It's not a great look on the league. So Natasha Cloud posted this, and this might be the dumbest thing ever. First of all, we want team housing. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Absolutely. I would assume for hardship players, they have to allow hardship players, just like again for G League players, for two-way players, if you're calling somebody up, you have to apply housing for them. But also, like, the team housing is 1,000 between.
Regarding whether the leadership of Team USA even grasped the cultural moment in a distant way they were living in. However, now that you mix that rejection with this coerced number shift, it begins to appear less similar to a string of discrete occurrences and more like a carefully calculated tendency of striving to diminish her enormous influence. Everywhere, fans are connecting the dots, and it's not a lovely image. She is first ignored from the Olympics, even though she brings increasing worldwide focus on the athletics. Now she's being told to abandon the most identifiable portion of her own brand for practically no logical reason. So, you see, it's not hard to comprehend the reasons behind the perception of Team USA may feel really uneasy with only how powerful and influential Caitlyn has become. She is greater than the league. She transcends the curriculum, and strong organizations don't always effectively manage it when the power dynamic changes so swiftly and drastically. So, let's discuss about Sue Bird's participation in all of this, because she's in an unattainable position. As overseeing director, she is the one who selected this training camp roster. Her entire job is to be in charge of overseeing these high-level connections and developing the future of the national program. However, rather than concentrating on basketball strategy, player development, and guaranteeing global supremacy, she's absolutely trapped trying to contain a nightmare for public relations because she private company founded only on its own. According to people close to the issue, Sue's response has been erratic. Between simple annoyance and severe dread, as she frantically looks for a potential solution to this without somehow exacerbating the situation. It's a mess, and she's right in the thick of it. And here's the terrible stone-cold reality that Sue Bird and the other members of Team the United States is currently learning the hard way. During this impasse, Caitlyn Clark maintains every bit of power. She doesn't require validation from Team USA, career, or to secure her legacy in the athletics. She's already completed it, and then a little. She's shattered records at Iowa that is unlikely to ever be affected once more. By herself, she has increased awareness of the WNBA and ratings on television. She has introduced a surge of new sponsors, media attention, and mainstream attention to women's basketball in ways that no athlete has ever accomplished prior to her. Thus, you have to consider, what precisely does she benefit by compromising her own brand identity in order to take part in a program that so clearly doesn't value her appropriately? Team USA, on the other hand, stands to lose completely everything if she walks away. They are defeated. Their biggest star. They forfeit the profound cultural relevance she brings alongside her. They forfeit the millions of fresh folks who came just to watch her performance. They are not covered by the media, enormous chances for sponsorship, and the whole story that American women's basketball is about to embark on a new golden age. Caitlyn's departure would be an unmitigated catastrophe for them. And Sue Bird is probably aware of it. That's exactly why she's fumbling. Then came the proof. The formal instruction camp roster that was made available to the public shows Caitlyn Clark listed as number 17. It's right there in black and white, verifying for the entire planet that this wasn't merely a hearsay or some wild conjecture. No, they actually carried it out and compelled the modification. Here's the worst part. When you look at the whole roster, you can view for yourself that no one, not even player, is wearing number 22. It's entirely available. It was right there for the taking. They could have just allowed her wear it and avoided this entire crisis, but they opted not to. They selected this battle. They chose to create this controversy. They are now stuck, handling the messy and inevitable implications of the choice. This additionally, the situation pulls back the curtain and reveals a far more profound, systematic problem in women's sports that goes far more than a single player and one jersey number. WNBA players have been vociferous for years, maybe decades, about being continuously underappreciated, undervalued, and underpaid in spite of being the ones fueling huge growth in their sport. Thus, when you provide the greatest iconic player of her entire generation like she's disposable or readily replaceable, you are reinforcing the systematic disregard for women athletes have been engaged in combat. This links directly to the incredibly contentious collective bargaining agreement talks that are happening right now and the very real chance of a league-wide lockout precisely because players are fed up with being treated like they ought to be appreciative of the leftovers that are provided. That's why the controversy around this figure resonates so honestly and so strongly with so many people. Actually, it has nothing to do with the actual number. It concerns what that denotes a number. Respect, recognition, and the essential recognition that Caitlyn Clark has acquired the privilege to make specific requests. When she sketches a line in the sand and declares that she's not being a diva, it's non-negotiable. She is defending herself in a system that has already attempted to diminish and manage female athletes at every single turn. And an awful lot of that strong stamp is respected. Now to be fair, several people have noted that additional celebrities such as A.A. Wilson and additionally, Cameron Brink wore number 22 in their separate careers, and that's true. However, historically, this has never been a significant conflict that needed executive intervention. Players work it out amongst themselves respectfully. Numerous all-star games have been placed, where numerous players were eligible to wear the same number. And you know what? They handled it like grown-ups without USA Basketball needing to step in and make harsh, unilateral decisions. The professional mature attitude would have been to just give A.A. and Caitlyn a private discussion if both were genuinely attending the same event donning that number. Instead, USA Basketball preemptively produced an issue that wasn't even necessary and then pushed a solution that satisfied absolutely nobody and humiliated their biggest star. The way the mess was handled reveals a basic, nearly startling misinterpretation of Caitlyn Clark's value and her immense leverage in today's sports world. Organizations often get comfortable using a specific power that has been established dynamics, and they don't always detect when those dynamics have seismically moved. USA Basketball is still operating as if they're doing Caitlyn a great favor by including her. They haven't really comprehended the truth if the circumstances have entirely inverted. The truth is, she is doing them a favor by turning up. Her participation gives significantly more value to their program than the program currently adds value to her at this advanced stage in her career. A new era has begun, and they continue to follow the outdated regulations. Subbard's fear is totally understandable because she's caught dab in the middle of this bureaucratic mess. She most likely didn't make this unilateral decision. There were perhaps other officials involved. Maybe some antiquated, dusty bureaucratic policy regarding duties involving numbers or possibly some old-school thinking regarding hierarchy and seniority. But, as the public face as the commander of Team USA, she is the one who had to stand there and answer for it. She's the one who is now assigned with the impossible task of persuading Caitlyn Clark that the organization really respects her yet simultaneously defending a choice that shows the complete and entire contrary. It's a no-win situation. The basic reality is this. Caitlyn Clark doesn't have any justification for making concessions. Not one. She's demonstrated everything she needed to prove on the court. She has nothing left to accomplish by participating in a program that she is presently receiving treatment for like an afterthought. If USA Basketball wants her back in the fold, they need to be the ones to put things right. And making doing right implies more than merely quietly altering a roster number. It implies letting her wear her number, publicly recognizing that the shift in force was a serious error and exhibiting by taking specific steps, not just words, that they truly grasp and value what she offers to their program and to the entire sport. Naturally, this dispute has sparked far larger conversations concerning athlete empowerment in the continuously changing the professional sports landscape. Players nowadays, particularly superstars with substantial personal brands and enormous social media followings, having greater power than they've ever had earlier. They are no longer required to simply accept therapy they consider disrespectful just because an organization has historically controlled all the authority. Caitlyn leaving Team USA would convey a tremendous and industry-changing message to each and every athlete watching in every sport. It would declare, you don't have to put up with being underestimated, even when that disrespect originates from strong organizations that believe they're totally impervious to harm. What comes next is truly unclear, and the stakes are really high. On a single hand, Sue Bird might potentially encourage Caitlyn to return by immediately reversing the number, making a choice and providing an unwavering guarantee that this kind of disrespect won't persist. Or Caitlyn could remain steadfast and forgo the training camp totally, and send huge shockwaves into the realm of basketball, compelling USA Basketball will finally take on the fact that they require her far more than she requires them. In any case, the harm to the reputation of USA Basketball has already been done. They have openly demonstrated that they were either hopelessly incapable or willfully disrespectful, and neither interpretation is a positive reflection of their leadership. The contrast with the number of legendary athletes is really instructive here. No one would have ever asked Wayne Gretzky to shift from 99 points. No one would have dared to compel Michael Jordan to give up. Those figures became indispensable from those sportsmen because of what they represented and what those athletes accomplished while donning them. Caitlyn Clark has undoubtedly attained that same level of number recognition in women's basketball. Her brand is the number 22. Asking her to modify it is like asking her to jeopardize her very identity. Moreover, she's making it perfectly clear that is not taking place. That's it. Team USA created an entirely preventable self-made calamity. Subbird is currently frantically attempting to tidy up the mess before things worsen. Caitlyn is holding she is aware of all the leverage. The situation is far from resolved. If you would like more coverage on this story as it develops, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. However, I'd like to know what you think. What ought Caitlyn to do next? Tell me what you think below.